Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This time it's going to be of the brand new Bandai Tamashii Nations S.H Figuarts Spy Family Anya Forger uniform version. Very excited to have this figure here. At the end of last year, we had the regular Anya in the line. At the end of this year, we're going to be getting Lloyd and Yor in their casual outfits, which is exciting. Eventually, we're also going to be getting Bond and an Anya figure with that. They have not had any pre-orders drop for that, though. I do hope that they'll eventually make some unique characters in the line, but some of the characters don't really do all that much, honestly. So I can kind of see them either, unfortunately, eventually dropping the line, or just making different versions of the main three casts, which I'm not entirely opposed to. Anyway, I do want to show off really quick, even though this is the same size, the coloring is a little bit different for some of these stuff on this new packaging compared to this previous one, as you can see there. But in speed of the packaging, let's just go ahead, take a look at it. I've been rambling on for a little too long. It does say Bandai Namco at the top. You do see some of the images of the figure on the side. You have some of the accessories as well as the figure in there. S.H Figuarts Anya Forger uniform version. That is also a read-up of what the S.H Figuarts line is. There's a little, the face of the Chimera toy there, which I don't believe this comes with that. Eventually, I would like to see that in this line. Spy Family, as well as where it says Made in China, as well as the Tamashii Nations quality sticker. It's a little bit smaller this time around than it used to be. The Bandai and Tamashii Nations logo, and I still don't know what that Shop Pro 40 sticker is supposed to be for. I think it's on all of the S.H Figuarts Spy Family figures. Anyway, S.H Figuarts Anya Forger uniform version, an image right there. Not really anything on the bottom there. Then we get to this side, it just says Anya Forger uniform version, and then one of the funny faces. Now we're gonna open this in a second, and correct me if I'm wrong, this face looks like one of the previous Anya faces on this new body, so I don't entirely know what's going on there, but I'll open this in a second. But then we look on the bottom here, you see the shocked face right there, and there's a support website and a number as well. Looking on the back here, look at all that stuff that she comes with and all the different faces. That is pretty insane. And then down here, ages 15 and up, as well as a barcode in case you need it. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Here's the figure out of the packaging, and if you have the previous Anya or have seen anything about that Anya, then you kind of already know what to expect. The good and bad associated with that. This is really kind of seen mostly as an accessory pack, if I'm being honest. But it's cool that we have the school uniform version because she's seen like that mostly in the show. And the accessories are really cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at those accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. So not including the faceplate or hands that the figure comes packaged with, this figure comes with 6 different faces, which is insane, and 3 different sets of hands, 1 extra set of hands compared to the previous one. This is hilarious. A shocked expression here. I like these slightly bluish lines going on, even into the eyes there. That is really hilarious. You have a little bit of eyebrow color in there too. You can see a little bit of green in the eyes, which is nice. And then you have the exaggerated creases underneath the eyes. And the separation of paint in the teeth and mouth and all that is really nice. And the ears are pretty decently sculpted as well. This might be a little bit bright, but we also have, so this is a different face compared to one of the previous ones with Anya. This is the Waku Waku face, as you see here. It's just a shocked, well, no, not really. It's just a surprised, super happy face. You have the star in the eye there, in both eyes actually. A little bit of light on the eyes too. And some crease above the eyes and the eyebrows. All that is painted nicely, even the eyelashes too. A little bit of blushing going on there. The paint in the mouth there also is pretty clean. Doesn't look like it's bleeding onto the faceplate at all. One thing I was excited about was getting an angry face, so that way she now looks proper when fighting off against, I'm just going to have some fun with this, fighting off against like Chainsaw Man, some other stuff I have plans for. This is a pretty good expression. Mouth is over to the side just a little bit. I do wish that, in some manga panels, when she has the angrier face, her eyes are closed a little bit more. I kind of wish we had one of those faces. But this is still pretty good too, where the eyes are a little bit more open. So that's pretty cool. And then they've painted the eyebrows to be bent. It's just really nice. Closed eyes, open mouth, happy expression. Loving this. We do have some blushing going on here, as well as, again, very similar to the previous faces. The eyebrows are really nicely done. With these closed eyes, as you see, you have some eyelashes there. And again, separation of colors in the mouth there. not bleeding onto the faceplate. That's pretty good. We do have a crying face, so that's going to be fun to use as well. They've sculpted the mouth to be a little bit wiggly, as you see in there. A little bit of crease, a little bit of some marks. I guess some creasing around the chin there. And they did a really good job with how just like different they're supposed to make the eyebrows, excuse me, to make it look sad. So that's pretty nice. And then they do have the waterworks going right there, which all that looks really nice on there as well. They have the water going on to the blushing. Looks pretty good. The eyes themselves are also nicely painted. And then last but not least, just this hilarious expression. I don't even know how to describe this, but it's pretty good. You have a little bit of green in the eyes there. Just the simplicity of it is really hilarious. And then same thing with how they did the mouth and the eyebrows going on there. Okay, so the figure comes packaged with these more relaxed hands, which we'll talk about more in depth in a second. Similar to the previous Anya, we have hands that have more sprawled out fingers. These are extremely small hands with small ports for the ball joint that they have in there. So, yeah, just be careful. There really is not much other detail besides how this is sculpted, but it is sculpted rather nice. We also do get fists just like the previous one. So, if you had the previous Anya and somehow you lost the hands, because these are rather small, you get the new Anya and you'll get these hands back pretty much. The actual sculpting and the fingers together, oh, that's pretty good. This time now, we do have pointing fingers, which is going to be fun for other posing too, so that's pretty sick. Yeah, there's not much to talk about here. Again, even though these are really small, the sculpting could be... Well, I say the sculpting could be better because some of the sculpting looks a little soft, but these are really, really small, so I'm sure it wasn't that easy to get these hands down. The pointing, though, all that looks really good. So we get a lot of stuff with this figure. So before we actually take a look at this Anya here, I do want to bring out the previous Anya. From my understanding, it looks like, unless I'm looking at something wrong, it looks like the exact same head sculpt, at least when it comes to the hair details. I feel like this, I could be wrong. This little strand of her bangs, that might be a little bit of a larger sculpt compared to this, but I mean, looking at it, they kind of look the exact same height. I think the little top piece here is also the same. The difference mainly is that there's a little bit more of a lighter highlight going on here, where there's a little bit darker pink going on in her hair. I believe, whatever, I forget what these little headpieces are called, but the black on here is a little bit darker right here with that gold. So, and yeah, everything else is about, unless, I mean, I haven't taken off any of these soft plastic pieces that are really not supposed to be taken off. I think the engineering is probably, similar, if not the exact same in some parts. I think if I'm looking at this, the way that this head is done here, and then we pop this one off, it is different. You see that peg is much larger, or they could be the same height. Actually, no. This is a longer peg compared to that one. That neck is longer on the previous one compared to this new one. So let's go ahead and pop this back on. This does look really good. The face that it comes packaged with, this nice smile. It's just a very basic smile, but it's good. All these faces, between this new one and the previous one, they're all different. So that's good to see. You have a lot of options for faces if you're getting both of these. And just like the previous one, the hair has some pretty good sculpted details going on. Mostly some creases in the hair. I believe the previous one had some weird stuff going on with the paint where it's like so glossy in some areas where it shouldn't be, as if it was scratches or something. I don't have anything like that on this head sculpt this time around, so that's good. We will talk about articulation in a second, but this is a bit top heavy again, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be helped because, it's such a small character. I'm glad they're making a small character like this, but, she does have a bit of a big head, and it's going to make her a little top heavy. If you balance her, though, like I might have already done it right now. No. I've spoken too soon. You'll have to mess around a little bit with balancing, but it's out of focus. But you can make her balance. I just don't. You'll just need a stand or maybe some blue tack on whatever she's standing on sometimes. So, I already mentioned this. Of course, you can see there's way more sculpting going on in the arms. I think they're actually longer this time now. The actual arms swing down a little longer unless this longer cuff is tripping me up. So this is a shorter sleeve, I guess. But the of course, the dresses are the exact same length. They're just more sculpting going on here with the Eden Academy outfit. Lots of really nice metallic gold, especially these lines right here. Actually, they're all painted nicely. I think this breaks up a little bit here, but you can make that work still. I don't see really any splotching going on. Looks like this is... Wow, that actually looks like a smaller peg this time around compared to the previous one, actually. Let's see what else we got. Or at least it pops out a little easier than the previous one. I don't exactly remember. I got it right here. Maybe I should just... it looks like it's about the same length. Yeah, so, similarities and differences are pretty apparent on this. I do like the red and gold around there, and the collar. There's a little bit of a speck on there. I don't know if that's dirt or paint. That's dirt. Okay. These hands are I gotta make sure I don't lose these. Again, these I guess would be pinstripes, but all that looks really good going down there. And the gold cuffs have some really good details for the uniform right there. It kind of looks like arches, whatever that shape is right there on the cuffs. All that looks really fantastic. There's really not much else to talk about. And you have this one line going all the way down here. The way that this is a separate piece that's glued in here, this line kind of breaks up a little bit, if you see that. It's not too noticeable for... Actually, it might be. Some angles it's more noticeable than others. And then we have, the stockings here. You can see where the skin tone meets the legs, or the white there. And these are, I think the leg sculpt might be almost the exact same, at least maybe the thighs, maybe the joints that they're using. But of course, you can see just how her ankles are different compared to the new one. And the shoes, of course, they're black this time, as well as this little strap that goes in the front there. And the gold button, not really a button, whatever that is on the side there. And that's painted really nicely too. It's a very small area, and they got that paint really well. I'm trying to look, man. With such a small figure, they really didn't mess up with the paint. I'm really impressed with that. And then there's nothing on the bottom of the feet. So, man, that is a really impressive, amount of paint going on here for such a little character. And they really didn't mess up at all. The hand is right here. The hand popping off on both sides is a bit of an issue. But, yeah, I just have to play with that, around that a little bit. So just be careful if you want to mess around the hands. They might pop off a little too easily. This is the same articulation scheme as last time. Unfortunately, since it's a little character, it's not super duper articulated. And again, it's pretty top heavy, but it's still got some articulation in here. We have that double dumbbell joint system going on here. I think there might be something going into the torso as well. But this is the side to side. The swivel's not a problem. The down, and then the up, yeah, it's not great. Especially the back of the hair getting in the way too. I think there's a little bit of a butterfly joint, or maybe just a ball joint going on in there. I'm trying to look. It's mostly a hinge, and then you can make it swivel. You can make it go up and down just a little bit. It does swivel up in here too. We also get a little bit of a separate swivel at the elbow right there, which looks a little bit like the elbows look a little too much like a disc, but it's really not that big of a deal to me. I think actually at this separate part of the forearm, it may not swivel actually, but that's a single joint elbow right there, which gets about 90. That's actually kind of nice. And these hands keep popping out, but they're really, even though they're on ball joints, they're really only going to have the best rotation. Oh, man, that is really hard to get in there. Is that like defective? I don't know. But yeah, really, it's only going to swivel. And then I cannot describe, it's just, I can really only swivel if you grab her legs. It can go, it's definitely a ball joint up in here, but this is just going to get in the way. Some of you are definitely going to want to replace this with the soft goods, kind of like the previous Anya. I just never got soft goods for any of this yet. But your articulation is apparently much better once you replace it with soft goods. We do have a little bit of a cut in the dress here, so if you need to make her split a little bit, there you go. I think there's a little bit of a thigh swivel in there. I think there's also a knee swivel. I can't actually tell when I grab the leg. Maybe a little bit, but I'm not going to mess around that too much. But you see that single joint knee bends a little bit more than I thought it would. We do have up and down here, and then a swivel at the ankle, and then a little bit of an ankle rocker. So I don't think I need to tell you that this is going to be the smallest figure out of all these size comparisons, but measuring out the figure here, we're looking at about, let's see, under 8.5 centimeters. That's going to make this under 3.5 inches tall. As you see, we have the first versions of Lloyd and Anya Forger right next to the new Anya here. I believe that these SH Figuarts were a little bit more upscaled than what they usually do in this line because of Anya. They needed to make her a little bit bigger than what it would be if you compare it to, you know, how accurate she should be with maybe Chainsaw Man. She should be a little bit shorter. Of course, she's going to still be short, but you can see just how tall Lloyd is compared to all of them. He's a little bit taller than a standard size Marvel Legend. Overall, I do think that this is a pretty decent figure, and I think it's a little bit better than the previous one, but when it comes to the issues, it's not really different compared to the previous one. I will say, the paintwork this time around is really, really nice, especially on her uniform. That being said, with this being a soft plastic uniform, it's gonna get in the way of articulation, as well as her having a pretty big old head, just like the previous one. She's pretty top heavy, so posing her around is gonna be a little difficult. If you have the means, I would replace the soft plastic dress with soft goods. Really, this figure is meant for two things. One, to have a version of Anya and how she's usually seen in the series, aka her school uniform, and this is really just a face accessory pack. Maybe they should have sold that pack separately. But this is a really good assortment of faces. Some great, hilarious faces. A couple of nice, serious ones, too. A little bit better variety than the previous Anya, which still had some pretty good variety. And even though the hands are much different, you have pretty much all you need when it comes to hands for this figure. And I do like that they included pointing fingers this time around. So overall, it is a pretty decent figure. Like I said, it's just not much different compared to the previous one. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.